Frank Radis with our continuing series on the future of content, powered by Red Touch Media. Here at CES 2014, we had a chance to stop by the Krusell booth to talk to CEO Ulf Sandberg about his products and about the way he markets those products through the use of content and social media. This is Frank Radis, and our continuing series on the future of content brings us to Ulf Sandberg, the CEO of Krusell. Tell us a little bit about Krusell and the other brands that you run.
We're a Swedish company. We've been in the mobile industry since 1991, exporting our products into approximately 70 countries around the world. We have three brands in the house: Krusell, Motorhead Headphones, which is an audio product, and Walk on Water.
Let's talk a little bit about each of the brands individually. Let's talk about Krusell for a minute. Tell me about what the primary products are and who the audience is for the products.
The primary products are mobile phone cases, tablet cases, and laptop cases. Our target group is an urban 30 plus consumer living somewhere around the world.
Do you find that because there's so many products out there, so many different types of phones and phablets and tablets now, that every time you turn around somebody else is coming up with one, you have to retool, regenerate, re-innovate, that sort of thing?
Yeah, from two different angles. First, there's new phones coming out every week, and we do a lot of model-specific products, so we need to be out there getting the phones, start new development every week. That's one side of the story. The other is that it's the user, how the users are using their devices changes over time. So the accessories are changing with the consumers. Historically, we have made traditional leather products that you were hanging in your belt like 10 or 15 years ago. We swapped over, and the PDAs came to the market, which was before the smartphones. Then we had different kinds of designs for that. Now with the smartphone and the touchscreens, it's constantly evolving.
Yeah, I'm an early adopter, and every time something comes out, I usually go out and buy it. Now I am an early abandoner as well, because I now have a box full of equipment, yeah. whether it's a piece of hardware or a case. And I found myself buying maybe 8 different cases for my iPhone, not even sure which one I'm happiest with. What is the consumer for these types of accessories as fickle as I am?
Some are. Maybe you're a bit extreme, but what we can see is that depending on how you're using your device and what other devices you have, you kind of change your behavior on the accessory side. Here's an example where we have made a flip case, which has been, flip cases are popular now, maybe more than hardcovers, especially in Europe, but where you also add your credit cards, and you put it on the outside so that you don't have the credit cards destroying your screen.
Or demagnetize the stripes too, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah. I did notice that in Europe, the flip cases are so much more prevalent than they are here in America. Why do you think that is?
The American market is looking more into rugged and big. Big is beautiful in US, and I think the European consumer has a different opinion, different taste in a way.
My wife would say that the European consumer is a more elegant consumer.
I agree.
Tell me a little bit about the other brands. Let's start with the really beautiful leather products that you have. What is that brand, and what is the philosophy behind that?
Walk on Water is a pretty young brand. It's a Swedish brand, Swedish design brand, with products like these. And here we have another example. The trend here is to go a little bit more street fashion, aiming for a younger target group than Krusell is. The main sales channels for Walk on Water has so far been APRs, which also has consumers that are very designer focused. Yeah. They have an interest in good-looking products as an Apple consumer.
These are just gorgeous. I mean, are these leather products?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just absolutely gorgeous. The designs they're simple, and I think of Swedish design as simplicity and its purity, and that seems to be what I'm seeing.
Minimalistic is a key word we often talk about when it comes to the design, to not overdo. simplify, simplify, simplify.
And one of the other products, take a look at a couple of these other products here. Tell me a little bit about that.
These are designs that we have made especially for some of the Sony products that was launched during the last year, where you have a kickstand function, for example, on your phablet. So for when we do products for phablets, which is 6-inch screens and up, then we try to add a value, and a kickstand function is one of them. But still, as you can see here, we're talking slim, very slim. Same if we look at the world's thinnest tablet, which is the Sony Xperia tablet. We, of course, need to have a kickstand function, but still make it as slim as possible. So for if you buy this one, which is pretty expensive hardware, and you buy it because it's the slimmest, then the accessory needs to follow that trend.
Yeah, it's certainly an elegant design. And one of these things that I thought was really fascinating was the seal box.
Yeah, my goldfish has disappeared. I don't know where it is.
You
but
had a goldfish in
yeah.
Yeah, he's gone. Somebody ate it for lunch.
Yeah, this is a waterproof case. And if you look at what's available on the market, there's not really any other semi-universal products like this. This only contains 4 pieces where I can't really open it now, but you just take them aside and you can take your phone out. You have full functionality here in the way that you can talk, you can touch the screen, you can go with your Spotify or whatever music service you're using, and then of course you can attach your Bluetooth headset so that you can listen to music when you're in the pool.
So is this product fully waterproof or just water resistant?
Fully waterproof.
Okay.
You can go diving.
Let's talk a little bit about the Motorhead Headphones. Tell me about, obviously, one of the world's best-known bands, and a product that signifies who that band is and what your product goals are.
Yeah, Motorhead Headphones is a project we started like 2 years ago. Mickey D, the drummer, since 20-something years in Motorhead, lives in Gothenburg, where we are based. And we had an idea or a vision of creating something within our audio. So we took a discussion with Mickey, and he introduced us to the band with Lemmy and Phil. And they just loved the idea of going to market with a high-quality product, which is very important. This product is designed in a different way than many other of the audio products you can see on the market. Many of the products you see today is aiming for a rap or a hip-hop audience. What they constantly are talking about is that they have this extra bass or heavy bass or super-duper bass. What we are aiming for is to be giving the best to the consumer for played music. And when we define played music, it's like guitars, strings, vocals, drums, and by law of nature, if you overdo the low frequencies like the bass, then you lose mid-range and you lose high frequencies. So the sound becomes a little bit... so if you're listening to real rock and roll, you need to have the mid-range, and that's where we have been focusing on our frequency chart.
We talk a little bit about the marketing of your product, specifically about how you might use social media to market the product.
One good example of how we use social media is when we talk about the Motorhead Headphones, because there you have a big fan base, of course, related to the band and the music, but also to the lifestyle of rock and roll. So we have been fortunate enough to have a lot of musicians, for example, that support us, the band and the brand, since many of them have been listening to Motorhead since they were kids. So through our social media sites, through other bands' social media sites, we have been able to, kick off the awareness of on our new brand on the social medias.
So that's an interesting way to talk about the link between your products and content distribution. So music, it's content. The distribution of your product through social media is utilization of that content distribution platform to get a conversation going about your product.
Yes, and to get people to, if they like the lifestyle, if they like the music, and they normally then would like the product, of course. So they talk about it, they connect to other bands, bands connect to other users, then.
And it's a self-perpetuating philosophy.
Yes.